Hello and welcome to our Interoperability Showcase on emergency stroke response and treatment. This is the story of Ms. Patel, a 66-year-old female who traveled from her home in San Diego to Chicago. While at dinner one night with some family friends, her friends started to notice that she started acting a little bit strange. She started having some facial droop, slurred speech, as well as left-sided weakness. The friends recognized the symptoms from a CDC public campaign and immediately called 911. The paramedics were dispatched, and the 911 dispatcher relayed important information, and this is Ms. Patel's story. So the paramedics arrived on scene, and they start documenting their care. So EMS is a little bit different than hospital documentation. We document to the NHMSS standards. That's the National EMS Information Systems. And all ambulances across the United States document to the standards. So if you're being treated in LA versus New York, your care is going to be documented consistently. NHMSS is one of the world's largest standardized EMS datasets. So as we start documenting the care, you can see we got some basic information in. Now, unfortunately, her friends do not recall Ms. Patel's information, her medical history information. So the paramedics were able to get her ID, scan the back of the driver's license, you can see here, and they were able to retrieve all that information and directly import it into their ePCR. Then they will search a national repository to see if they can find a patient match, and they did. So once again, Ms. Patel's in Chicago, they found her information from San Diego. So they're gonna bring that information down, and that's gonna import her current medication allergies, environmental allergies, as well as past medical history. So that's gonna be incorporated into the record. It's also gonna bring in next of kin information, so her daughter's telephone number, her DNR status, and then historical 12-lead EKGs. So now they need to determine where she's gonna be transported to. Since she's having a stroke, she needs to go to a comprehensive stroke center. So let's look at the destinations tab. And there's two comprehensive stroke centers near us. So the closest one is the Chicago Medical Center. So I'm gonna click on that. And you can see, unfortunately, they're on stroke divert. So they're not able to actually take this patient because their CT scanner's down. So let's look at the Paddock Memorial Medical Center. So they're fully open. So let's take Ms. Patel there, even though it's a 4-minute longer drive, but they can get her imaging done a lot quicker. So I'm gonna activate the stroke team. And what this is gonna do is get Ms. Patel pre-registered into the EHR, so upon the paramedics' arrival, they can immediately start treating her. So I'm gonna send that off to the Epic EHR system.
As we can see, the hospital has received the pre-registration message. As the emergency department physician, I'm going to register the patient. And enter a stroke workup order set. As you can see, with just one order set, I'm able to create orders for labs, vital signs, and imaging. I'm going to go through and fill out some necessary information. And sign the order. The emergency department staff await Shadni's arrival.
So the paramedics resume their transportation, and during transport, they're gonna start documenting the care they're performing. So in this case, Ms. Patel's gonna get her blood glucose checked. They're gonna collect lab samples so that they can just hand them off at the ED. They're gonna get a 12-lead EKG, establish vascular access, because Ms. Patel's probably a candidate for TPA. We're gonna start a secondary one as well. And let's put her on some oxygen. They're gonna also start a TPA checklist that they can relay to the hospital. So as they arrive at the emergency department, they're gonna meet the ED team as well as the stroke team at the ED doors. They're gonna go bypass the emergency department and take the patient directly to the CT scanner. There, they will transfer care and they'll return back to the ambulance bay. When they're returning back to the ambulance bay, they're going to be going back to the registration desk and grabbing a face sheet. Thank you. The face sheet's going to be key to scan so we can incorporate our record directly into the EHR. Now we can also scan the patient's wristband, but since we have the face sheet conveniently here, and what that's going to do is it's going to actually incorporate the patient's medical record number as well as the encounter number. So these two numbers are what actually gets directly sent to Epic so the record can be integrated into the solution. At this point, the hospital is going to continue treating Ms. Patel.
After completing her imaging procedures, Shodney was taken to the emergency department. The emergency department reviewed her imaging and laboratory results, as well as the CCDA document and EPCR. I'm going to open up the Care Everywhere tab, go into Documents, and open up each one. Here's the EPCR document, and if I go back, here's the CCDA. As you can see here, we have received information from the paramedics. After speaking with Shodney's daughter, the ED physician decides to treat her stroke with IV thrombolytics. The ED physician enters the order for the IV thrombolytics in the patient's chart, and via smart pump interoperability, the order will be sent to the infusion pump.
With infusion pump interoperability, we are able to automate the infusion pump programming to make sure the rights of medication administration are being selected. So we leverage the standard practice of barcode medication administration, or BCMA, to make sure we have the right patient, the right drug, and the right medical device. So by scanning the Novum IQ pump's digital on-screen barcode, the pump identifies itself with device association in the EMR.
With the association information reviewed and confirmed in the EMR, the infusion order can now be wirelessly sent to the pump. Nurses no longer need to manually key in every character of the infusion order, which saves them time and helps them ensure medication administration is complete.
In real time, the pump receives the infusion order, and the important infusion parameters are auto-populated on the device. So I no longer need to be looking for the drug in the pump's drug library or enter the dose number by number. So as you can see, we received the medication the doctor ordered for Shodney, so alteplase. So I will accept the order. And this medication requires a loading dose. So the Novum IQ pump automatically prompts me, so I'll say yes. The weight and the time of duration of the loading dose has been pre-populated, so I'll just confirm. And now I will review the primary infusion. The weight, the dose, and the volume to be infused has been sent from the EMR. So I'll just confirm and accept the program. The loading dose is now infusing, and in a minute it'll be complete. When it's done, the pump will automatically switch to the primary infusion as ordered. Now the device has been associated with Shodney's record and her infusion orders. All infusion status information and any infusion events will be automatically communicated to the EMR. This helps nurses accurately and quickly chart the administration infusion in the patient record.
For example, the loading dose started at this time, when the loading dose automatically completed both the complete event and the change in infusion rate was automatically sent to the EMR. Clinicians save time, but also the whole care team now has access to information such as medications administered and fluid volume inputs to better inform Shodney's care. Upon successful administration of the IV thrombolytics, her physician reviewed the infusion data. Shodney's timely acute care interventions significantly improved her condition, and as her stroke symptoms resolved, she was transferred for rehabilitation and ultimate discharge. I'm going to go into the ED manager here, click on our patient, hit the discharge button. I'm going to enter a time and date for discharge, enter discharge information, and click discharge. Upon discharge from the hospital, information about Shodney's hospital stay is sent back to the paramedic agency via an HL7 A03 discharge message.
The EHR automatically transmits outcome data from Ms. Patel's hospital stay back to the paramedic agency, where they're going to perform continuous quality improvement and for the enhancement of pre-hospital care of stroke patients. In this scenario, you've noticed the paramedics agency drew labs prior to arrival. This is the partnership between EMS and the hospital systems that enhance that stroke care. Meanwhile, the hospital stroke program coordinator reviews Ms. Patel's case while ingesting data from both the EHR and the EPCR directly into their patient registry system, in this case, ImageTrend patient registry. The data collected is key for their quality improvement process to ensure that they're meeting national benchmarks for stroke care. This data is automatically transmitted to regional, local, as well as federal repositories for the enhancement of stroke care across the nation. Example of one of these repositories is the CDC Coverdell program.
CDC's Paul Coverdell National Acute Stroke Program funds the implementations of 13 state health departments' coordinated stroke care systems. The Coverdell program supports the stroke symptom education that helped Chandni's friends identify her symptoms and leverages the connection and tracking of data throughout her care to inform enhancements to EMS and hospital workflows like the ones that we just demonstrated. These improvements remove critical disparities in care for populations disproportionately impacted by stroke outcomes who are at the highest risk for stroke events. Most importantly, the Coverdell Registry's connection between interoperable hospital and pre-hospital data is imperative to better calculating stroke risks and improving practices for treatment. These standards-based approaches can then be applied across other registries that also benefit from interoperability with EMS information systems.
So in summary, interoperability between EMS, in this case ImageTrend, the EHR, which is Epic, and as well as the infusion pump, which is Baxter, we were able to shave off between 40 to 50 minutes of a traditional arrival in the emergency department ambulance. This interoperability is key to the success of stroke patients across the United States. Thank you for attending our showcase.